And we're on, everybody. We're on right now here on the Real Talk Sports Show. Welcome. I'm your host, Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we thank God for all of you who have decided to join us here on this beautiful day in the neighborhood. We're broadcasting just about 20 miles south of downtown Atlanta, and we are just happy and grateful to be alive here. We got a great show tonight. We're going to be talking about what everybody's been talking about, The Last Dance. Also, breaking news. It looks like Iron Mike Tyson is going to return to the ring at age 55. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. We also have a hometown hero that we're going to be introducing to you in just a few moments. He is a young man from my hometown that is going to be entering the NFL for the very first time, a Syracuse graduate, and he will be heading to the Baltimore Ravens. So we're going to bring him on, Mr. Evan Adams, in just a few moments. And we also want to thank God for all those of you who are watching on the archive via Periscope, because we know we have a lot of people that watch us on Periscope, which is AKA Twitter TV. So we thank God for all those of you who are doing that as well. So as you know, we like to do it as we start the broadcast. We want to make sure that it is on and popping with everybody across the airwaves. So we're going to get this thing shared. For those of you who don't know, I am actually from the same hometown as Evan. That's why we call him the hometown hero. I'm originally from the town of Norwalk, Connecticut, a little town just about maybe an hour north of New York City. We used to be able to take the commuter train, Metro North, and be in New York in about an hour. So we are very, very excited again to have a hometown hero that's going to be joining us in just a minute. Before we do that, we want to make sure that we get this on our Norwalk page. There is actually a page on Facebook saying that I grew up in Norwalk. So we want to make sure that all those folks can do that so they can see Evan and I on the air. Like I said, we're going to bring him on in just a few minutes. We thank God again for those of you who are watching here on the Real Talk Sports Show. And for those of you who normally catch us on WIGO on the air, we had a problem, some type of electrical problem at the station. So we will be doing video only. We normally try to do a TriCast on all platforms. But again, we are only going to be video only tonight. So for those of you who are watching, normally listen to us on WIGO, again, check us out here on the Facebook page, and we'll be broadcasting right here as we always do. So like I said, again, we first are going to hit that up with the I Grew Up in Norwalk page, so the folks in my hometown can see Evan and myself, and then we will go ahead and bring him on and start this broadcast from here at the Lockdown Living Room. You guys know how we do it every week. We call it simply the Lockdown Living Room because those of you who have been shut in and shut out, that's how it is. Well, no longer ado, we'll have to make it do what it do. Again, guys, listen, share the broadcast because I'm multitasking this evening. Again, he is from my hometown of North Connecticut, offensive lineman par excellence from Syracuse University, Orangemen. Evan Adams now with the Baltimore Ravens. Welcome to our show.
How you doing, boss?
Hey, man, listen, it's exciting to see you and to hear you. Howard Arden, a good friend of your mom, had told me, said, hey, did you realize that a guy from our hometown is going to the NFL? I said, no way. He said, yep. I said, well, now, you know, I can't do a sports show and not have the young man come on. So, man, I'm glad you took a little time with us to kind of hang out with us tonight.
It's a blessing to be here.
Hey, listen, so tell us a little bit about your experience, again, coming from Norwalk, being recruited by Syracuse, the ACC, and that's where the defending champion Clemson Tigers were. Kind of how did that transition for you coming out of Norwalk High School?
It was a fun ride. I mean, I had a lot of offers coming out of high school, and I thanked everybody who gave me an offer, but I wanted to play in arguably the best conference in college football,
right?
ACC, and it was a great opportunity for me. You know, I was watching, a whole bunch of guys. I'm at UConn. I mean, UConn's right around the block. I was watching UConn be great, earlier on in their days. I watched NC State, Florida State, all the big teams in the ACC growing up. And it was a dream come true for me to be able to have an opportunity to play, one of the best college conferences in the nation.
Well, it must have been, again, ACC, we covered Georgia Tech down here. And, we've seen Clemson up close and personal. I remember the first time we saw them, everybody said the same thing. Hey, are we supposed to play against these guys? Because physically, as you know, Georgia Tech running more of a run offense based on the wishbone, more on speed and trap blocking. They were a much smaller team physically. I don't think we had I think we have maybe one guy your size. I think you come in about 6'3", about 315. Am I right?
6'6", 320 right now. 320.
366, 320. Amen. And I'm sure that's why the Baltimore Ravens are looking for you. Well, I'm gonna bring another young man on here. He would probably argue with you. He'd probably say the Big Ten is the best conference, but I wanted him to at least kind of see you up close and personal. Deshaun Tate, basketball savant, is in the building. Deshaun, what's cooking, man?
Top of the evening, gentlemen. Mr. Adams, Rev, I appreciate you for having me on every single time, man. I know you got the football guys on right now, but I've always been one of those guys that kind of ruffle feathers a little bit when I tell them that it's not a coincidence. Don't be surprised when I say that basketball runs this country, not football. So.
Oh boy, here we go. Here we go. Starting already. You listen, man. This guy's from my hometown. Can't you at least act right? Well, I got the hometown guy on the air. Come on, man.
I don't know another way. You brought me on here knowing how I get down.
Like this. We're gonna break it down like this. When people think of America, they think of football.
Say it.
Basketball. We can argue about this all day. When you go overseas and you see a huge dude walking around, they're not gonna ask you, do you play basketball? They're gonna ask you, football Americano. They're gonna ask you, do you play American football?
American football. That's right. Tell the story straight, Mr. Adams. I mean, come on now. See, even the young guys know, Deshaun. I mean, no disrespect. Even a young man knows football is what rules the roost. Come on now.
It's a fact. It's a fact.
You can see the other thing too.
From a number standpoint. Which one is more watched, the Super Bowl or the NBA Finals?
Uh-oh.
I'm just coming at you with straight facts. It's not. You can't argue facts.
Well, see, I thought Deshaun was going to throw some shade talking about the Big Ten being better than ACC. That's what I thought he was going when he came on.
We can't win that argument. In basketball, maybe. Football, definitely.
Well, I mean, well, hold on, just 1 second. I like to think that the ACC would be the program that is would be the conference that's much more dominant in basketball than it is football. I personally feel the same way that you do, just opposite wise. I don't think that the ACC can hold a candle to the Big Ten in regards to football, with the exception of your one or two programs within the conference.
Well, I tell you, I mean, the one thing I can say, regardless of whose conference is better, I'm just proud to have one of my hometown guys. Deshaun, you went through this. You've had several guys out of your neighborhood, obviously coming out of Michigan that have gone on D1 and played pro. But for us back in Norwalk, it is the rarest of rare that we have a guy get to the heights of the NFL. So that's why we wanted to bring Evan on. And
congratulations.
Appreciate it, brother.
So now what's it been for you? Because we've had a lot of discussion on this program, Evan, about the whole concept of trying to, try to play a professional sport. Obviously, as a rookie now, trying to make the team and being in a situation where you have to deal with this coronavirus.
Is definitely somewhat of a hindrance, and not being able to be down there, meet all your new teammates face to face, meet your coach face to face, and it's definitely an adjustment having to do virtual workouts, do meetings online. Everything's online now. It's definitely a huge change up, but you can't let that affect you, and you can't let that affect how you operate and how you move. You just try to learn as much as possible through these meetings. You try to gain as much as you can, not only through the virtual workouts that they give you, just get a little extra work in, try to be great in every way you can be, so that when it comes time for us to come back, we're not going to skip a beat.
Well, now you mentioned the challenges of doing everything virtually. So you guys, obviously you can't do any physical drills. So most of it is just, I guess, for you learning the playbook and getting to actually see your teammates and meet your teammates and coaches?
Yes.
Let's go here and take a look at some of the comments we got popping up here on social media here. Here's a young lady I've known for many, many years. She is actually originally herself from Norwalk, Connecticut, Ms. Donna Jones. She's a photographer and administrator down in the Washington, D.C. area. And she also is our occasional D.C. On the scene reporter. So Donna, big shout out to you. Yeah, we got a hometown guy here. Evan Adams is in the building. So big shout out.
It's great to see Norwalk showing me love, man. They follow me throughout my whole career, and I love them very much. Wherever I go, small state that we come from, and even smaller city. So, they show me love wherever I'm at.
And that's amazing when I think about it, because we are not that big of a city. And Deshaun, I'm gonna split you off for just a second so I can get Mr. Adams a little bit bigger in the picture here. Let's see if we can pop him up on in here. Let's see if I can go to my split screen again. And here we go. Okay, there's that smiling face there. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it is exciting for us because again, we're not a big town, a big city, and every time we have somebody that kind of make it out to the pro level, we're excited. We're very excited. So we're excited for you.
Very.
So now for Ravens,
there's
I'm
only a
sorry.
few dudes doing it. There's only a few dudes doing it. I mean, me and Steve Enoch, I mean, Steve Enoch, big basketball player coming out of our city. We're very proud. We're very proud to be where we're from, and it's just a privilege. Come out of our city and just represent where we come from.
No doubt. Well, so now for Ravens fans that might be taking a look at this, what would you tell them that you're looking to try to bring to the table to add to a team which already is a pretty good team with Lamar Jackson and several star players, obviously on defense. What do you think that you want to tell Ravens fans that you're going to try to bring to the table once you get there?
Great effort, great intensity, and most of all, just going at it every day like it's my last. Because everybody says the NFL is it's not for long. Not for long. So
right.
I'm just gonna go out there and do what I can do to be the best player I can be and represent where I come from and my family.
And Sean will tell you because we both get a chance to cover sports here in Atlanta that it is really something that it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge. Again, Sean, we're going to come back to you just a little bit. We appreciate you. Hang tight there in the studio, kind sir, and we'll be back. So yeah, Evan, like I said, man, it's definitely something that we're extremely excited about having you do what you do. And again, I wanted to let people know what it's like. What was it like when you actually got that information, knowing that hey, the Ravens were interested in your services?
Funny story. Last day of the draft, my agent's calling me, back and forth all day, just staying in contact, letting me know what's going on. And I knew I was going to fall to either late 7th round or a free agent. And I get a call while I'm in the gym with my good friend James Madison. He played football at Norwalk High, plays at URI right now, and that's my brother. We do everything together.
Okay.
We were in the gym getting it down, and the Ravens had guaranteed me if I did not get drafted, I was going to the Ravens. So they guaranteed me a spot. And then later on that night, when the draft had actually ended, I get a call from my agent because it's my birthday. It's
your birthday?
It was my birthday, the 25th.
Man, how cool is that?
It was my birthday, and we were all together. I was around James, his sister, his just around people that I consider family. And I got the call, and they said, "You know what? It's over with. You're a Raven now." And I was overwhelmed with joy, knowing that all the things that I put myself through to get myself to this point, paid off. You pray for these moments your entire life, and to see them come to fruition, it's a huge moment. It's just a huge moment.
Like I said, it's a huge moment for all of us, especially for our hometown in Norwalk, Connecticut. Now I'm gonna do this here for a second. There's a guy. He doesn't like me to call him this because I think I know he's younger than me. But when I first got here to Atlanta, he was the first African American sportscaster I saw, and actually his specialty is in covering high school football for the Georgia Public Broadcasting Station. So I'm gonna let him pop on the air for just a second, say hello to you. Sam Crenshaw's in the building. Sam, are you there, kind sir?
Right here. Evan, how you doing, man? Congratulations to you.
Great. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. That is, like you said, so many, you pray for that moment. You do all the work, you put all the work in, and then when it comes to fruition, you get that reward. There's be nothing else like it, right?
Sir, there's nothing else like it.
Well, Sam, you're kind of looking around the whole high school scene here. You've seen this before. We have some hometown heroes that we're going to try to peek in on as well as we get closer to the season. But you kind of give us a feel as a guy that's covered this, some of the emotions that you've seen from some of the kids as they, finally realize, okay, I'm about to get drafted and go to the pros.
Well, you start with our hometown Atlanta Falcons and the #1 pick, A.J. Terrell, who was from Westlake High School. He is the 4th first-round pick that school has had.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I go back. Let me see. Remember them all now. Cam Newton, Pac-Man Jones, and remembering, my goodness, the lineman, the big lineman that ended up going to the Tennessee Titans. They came out of Westlake. So they've had quite a legacy of great players that come out of there. But that's the thing we do here in this area. The thing that's so great about high school football is here, Minister Simmons, and you know that the players work so hard. They see the other players go off and achieve, and it inspires them, and they come back home. They come back and spend some time. They get back in the gym. They get back on the track and show them what it takes to get there. It's one thing for the coach to tell them, but when the guys come back home and they spend some time back at their high schools, that's the thing that inspires them and motivates them so much. And I know, Evan, you're going to do some of that as well, back to your school, because that's what means so much. The coach could tell them so much, but now when it comes from you, it's going to take a whole different spin.
Oh yeah. I mean, it takes a whole different mindset. When you come home and you're blessed to be around, all these people that want to see you do great. And luckily, I have good friends that support me and care enough about me to continue to make me grind and make me more hungry to get to where I need to go.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
Well, man, listen, another guy I want to bring in here that knows a lot about football, and he is an ACC guy himself. I want to bring him on because he is a good friend of mine, good friend of the show, but also want to kind of give you another perspective because I know you are a man of faith. So I'm going to pop in here. I'm going to see if I got it. You kind of turn his camera here. So let me see if he's got his camera right yet. Let me see. Brother Dexter, I'm going to have you turn the camera one more time. I still got you sideways, bro. Give me one more turn on that camera, whatever you're on the phone or your iPad, Mr. Dexter, because I got you going horizontally. So if you turn me one more time, and I think we can get you.
Come on, Dexter.
He's working. He's working hard in the background. Nope, you got you upside down. One more time, Dexter. One more time. You can do it, brother. We got you right there. Up. One more turn. Oh, there he is. And we're going to bring him on right now. He is actually also the chaplain of our Atlanta Falcons. Also works here with the Atlanta Urban FCA along with his wife, Dexter Davis, in the building. Dexter, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, man, my pleasure, man. My pleasure. It's always good to see the familiar faces and hear the young man, Evan, sharing the excitement. See my man, Sam Crenshaw, nobody better than you, and Minister Jonathan Simmons. So my pleasure, man, and glad to see your faces and hear your voices, especially during this season of life.
Well, I'm sure that you would be a big staple of encouragement. I know the Ravens have their own chaplain as well. Yeah. So hopefully Evan will be able to get right in contact with him as he gets there. And now I'm looking in the background there. It looks like you're not that far away. It almost kind of looks like a little bit kind of reminds me of the Falcons back there, but you're a little too high up for that. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of Flowery Branch, just a little bit, the trees. You know how they say, I haven't been in a while.
It does have a little familiarity to it, but this is just downtown Buckhead, and my wife and I, we empty nesters now, and so we always doing stuff in the city, and our ministry just is really a presence here, and so this is where we are now. This is home.
Well, man, what better home to be in? Of course, you guys know that anytime I bring you on the show, you guys get a chance to be here in what we call the lockdown living room. Always exciting to be in here. We got some comments here coming to us on Facebook Live, gentlemen. So I'm going to pop this up here. Hopefully you guys will be able to see it in just a second. Mr. Nathan Lewis, he just gave me a shout out. We appreciate you, brother. I'm trying to do my thing with all these fine men of God right here and football guys. So we're very, very excited to be in the building with all of them. Again, we want to give a shout out to everybody watching us on social media, on Periscope TV, YouTube. We're actually broadcasting, simulcasting on YouTube as well tonight. And of course, all those of you who watch us traditionally on Facebook Live. So we appreciate each and every one of you. Well, Evan, so now have the Ravens gotten in contact with you as far as what your schedule is when you're actually going to return to the building?
No, we have no idea when that's going to happen. I pray every day that, we get an opportunity to get down there and just start chopping up and being able to get in the meeting rooms, be in the facilities, get used to everything. But we have no idea right now as to what or when we're going to be able to be down there, as far as I know. So I'm just hoping and praying that we get our shot to go down there.
Well, like I said, man, I'm sure that you are chomping at the bit. I think all the players here, I think that Dexter, I know that you must have, I'm sure the job is different. As a chaplain, it's always something where you're trying to provide inspiration and comfort. This must be a little unique for you having players, I'm sure at some point going to consult you about, how they should be able to best manage the situation for themselves and their families with the coronavirus.
Yes, and so it's been great to hear, not only from our players, but players from other teams. In Atlanta, we're inundated with so many different players and from different teams that live here in the off season. And Evan, I'm sure, and welcome to the brotherhood for one. And now you're going to have an opportunity to be in the off season with a lot of these players. But yes, the transition, really how to maximize your time and minimize some of the mistakes and just staying on top of your time management is so key, even more important now than if you had a full slate of things to do, because you got to really figure out how to work out and train. But I want to say something to you before I even go any further. Minister Simmons, Johnny Shelton, the Ravens chaplain, and I are dear friends, and his wife and my wife, we were good friends. We were just up at an event with the NFL players called PAO in February, right before all of this transpired. A lot of your teammates were there, Evan, Mark Ingram, Carl Williams. A lot of your teammates are there, so you're going to be in a nice place, nice atmosphere to perform in. So I'm excited for you in that respect. Johnny Shelton is nobody better, and there's nobody finer and understanding the role of a chaplain than your head coach, John Harbaugh. So be excited about that, young brother.
Very excited. Very excited.
So, Sam, have you heard anything through the Georgia Public Broadcasting channels as far as what might be the sensibility for high school football? Anything yet?
My goodness, and I open this up to all of you gentlemen, because we've never seen anything like this. You're talking about trying to get the game going at the professional level and the collegiate level, but at the high school level, man, they're not able to do any workouts or anything. I've talked with the coaches, places like Meadow Creek. They've been taking protein and hydration packages to the players at their homes just to keep them engaged. Zoom and different things to be used, like the ones we're on now, are being given a great workout. And I remember the time when high school coaches were afraid to use the internet. Those coaches wouldn't be working the day. They have to do this to be in line with the players and keep in contact with them. You're wondering when things going to get started. We've heard some things about some programs. Riverside Military Academy decided they're not going to play fall sports at all this year. So that region has to really work to find something to replace those games with that particular team, or just play fewer games. Yesterday, Fulton County Schools announced that they're canceling the games with teams outside of state. And as we know, those games with those teams from outside of the state have become big-time games for regional and national rankings when you want to play your Hoover, Alabamas, and your schools from out on the West Coast. And really, so the number of schools in the Fulton County system that are having to drop games with teams from outside of the state that probably end up playing against each other. But those games were in the first week of September. Well, those games may not end up getting played anyway. As we look in, the season may start a little late. There are a lot of different contingency plans to start the schedule late, to shorten the postseason, just to get it in, just for this year to get it done. The big question I know is whether or not they will have fans in the stands, and just can't conceive high school athletics without those communities, because it's the lifeblood of so many areas around the state and just around the country. You go to some cities and some towns on Friday night, and that's the only thing that happens. Everybody goes to the high school football, be it football season or basketball season, and they put that traffic light on blink for about 3 hours because there's nobody coming through town anyway, right? You know what I mean? So that's the thing. I think the biggest thing to talk about. And I mentioned I was honored to be the virtual MC for the Georgia Athletic Directors Association this past
I saw that.
night. And they allowed me to do it virtually, and MCS is salute to all those men and women. They're the ones who make high school athletics go. And right now they have a tireless job just to keep each other and monitor each other and try to make the decisions that are right for the young people they serve. Want to give a shout out to one person with GPB Sports and Tommy Palmer, someone who's been on the high school football scene for so long in this state. He's battling serious health issues. He went for a procedure and did not get a very favorable outcome on it. So we want to all lift him up in prayer for the Tommy Palmer. He's down in Statesboro, a great voice for high school football throughout the state. You want to have a good time at a high school football game or basketball game, you want to go with him. And I've had a chance to go with him and broadcast with him, and I had a blast. And so we all keep lifting him up in prayer, praying for the best, and want him to continue the good fight.
Well, certainly we want to keep our prayers up for Tommy as well. We want to do this here. We're going to go ahead and also I want to go ahead and put the link. If anybody wants to join the show, I'm going to pop that up in the comments here. So just bear with me, gentlemen, as I go ahead and get that done. And then we actually have a couple of questions here from social media that we're going to get to in just a moment as well. Okay, for those of you, again, watching, I'm going to go ahead and put this up on both the Facebook page comments, and you guys will also be able to see them. For those of you who are watching on Periscope, we're going to go ahead and put it on here right here. There it is, guys. If you want to join us, you can come in audio only. And there we go. And also now we want to get to some of the questions here. Let's look here. Donna Jones, I think, has a question. She says, what are your concerns about starting the season this year? And what are the concerns? And do you think the NFL should start this year? So we're going to go around to each panelist. Well, Evan, I think I know your answer already. We talked about it, but let's go to you. Obviously, I think that you're pretty chopping at the bit to go.
Yeah, I'm very chopping at the bit to go, but at the same time, I want everybody to be safe. I want everybody to be okay. And I want everybody to, it's health is wealth. And, it's hard when you're an athlete and you want to just go out there and perform and be great. But at the same time, you need everybody to be healthy. You need everybody to be safe. And I believe, with the people in leadership in the NFL, they're taking every precaution to make sure that everybody's safe and well. And, that's what comes first. It's not there's something bigger than the game. It's definitely everybody's health.
And speaking of health, we had another question also social media. Mr. Lane Armster, who's very involved and active, sits on a couple of different committees for the Cobb Chamber. As a matter of fact, we were honored to listen in when the Cobb had the four CEOs, or I should say managers, from our various teams here. They had Steve Koonin from the Hawks. They had Rich McKay from the Falcons. They had Darren Eales from Atlanta United. And I'm right now drawing a blank about the gentleman from the Braves. It shows you how far baseball is in my mind, but that's a whole other story. Let's go and get to the question from Miss Elaine Armster. Her question is, sports physicals, have enough protocols been set for the athletes' wellness program? So again, the question has protocols been set the athletes wellness program. And I guess I'll toss this to you for a second. Dexter, are there anything that you're aware of from the Falcons that are doing differently, or just, what you have seen so far?
No, other than hearing about this, sanitizing the indoor facilities and the players, the equipment, there's going to be a mandatory, and it's not just for the Falcons, it's going to be for all NFL teams, a mandatory standard sanitizing effort that'll have to be done and completed by every club prior to players entering the facilities. And of course, they'll have smaller numbers. So, what that does do indirectly, it does affect a lot of the support staff, guys like myself, who are really not essential staff, but, we are support staff. So when you start deducing numbers and, for guys that are essential, it's going to certainly minimize how many people have access to the facility. So again, to answer your question directly, every team is going to have a standard sanitizing effort that has to be completed. It'll probably be some kind of ongoing process, depending upon if it's water soluble, like a shower, or if it's just a non-touchable surface somewhere on the wall. It's a lot of unknowns, but we're in the new next normal.
Absolutely. Minister Simmons, I had a chance to spend some time on a podcast yesterday with Dr. Brian Hainline, and he is the CMO for the NCAA, the chief medical officer. And he's looking at a lot of different things that are going to have to take place. He likes to call it the inner bubble. And these are the people who are essential, as Dexter just alluded to, in making things and securing them first. And once this essential people are secured, both for practice facilities and for playing facilities, and then you can kind of figure about if they're going to be fans, if they're going to be any form of spectators, as far as that goes. But he wants to get that inner circle, the players, obviously, the coaching, the people who have to be on the field, the officials, the people who are there with law enforcement, the people who are there with safety, and EMT. You have to have those people in the building and on the field ready when you have a game to be played. So it's more than just the players and coaches, but that inner bubble of people is like what he likes to refer to, getting that secured. And he's pretty upbeat about what could happen. Not saying we're going to have 60, 70,000 people in the stands, but that, by the end of the season, we could work our way up to at least maybe half that much. And I think when, I think when the NFL starts, Dexter, I don't know about you, I totally believe that the people in the boxes and the suites are going to be there because they're manageable. They're manageable. You can do their temperature.
Right.
You bring them in. They don't go to concession stands for drinks and stuff. They're going to get everything they need there. Their restrooms and everything's there. I think those folks will be there. So you won't see folk in the stands, but the folks in the suites will be in the suites in the boxes if they're playing football. I think that's the NFL. Now college, that could be a whole different kettle of fish. But for the NFL, I think that happens.
So what you're saying, the VIPs will be in the building. Well, listen, I tell you, Evan, I got to say again, man, it's an absolute pleasure that you're able to join us. Now, here's what we're going to need from you. I know you're a busy man, but we're going to need you to come back on the regular because we want to kind of let people get a peek, kind of, within limits, kind of what it is as you're going through this process of making this team. Because again, it's not only trying to make the team, but it's very unusual that you're doing this in the middle of a pandemic. So this is something that you're doing, which is historical. You and the whole class of 2020 coming in, you guys are history makers right now in real time.
Man, it is. I mean, it's a hard thing to do, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Things could be a lot worse, and there's people in the world that go through a lot worse things than what I'm going through. So I'm very fortunate to be in the position that I am in. But I'll keep it a stack with you. I am a very busy man, but I'll do my best to check back in whenever I can.
Now, see, that's how we raise him up in Norwalk, Connecticut. That's how we do it there, gentlemen. Well, Evan, again, we appreciate you, man. I know, like I said, again, you got to your schedule is now in the full throttle. Well, how can people follow you on social media? Do you have a social media page for you as the athlete, or how can people kind of keep in touch with you during the saga? I know you're not on that much because obviously you're about to go into training camp, but we still want people to give you a shout out on Twitter and other media sources.
Evan Adams on Facebook. I have Savage63 on Instagram and Twitter. Yeah, follow me. Just watch the progress, watch the grind, and I'm very thankful to be in the position that I'm in. I'm very thankful to have good people like my mother. Miss Annie, as you already know, she looking out for me, making sure I'm good. And I'm very thankful for just being here, being able to speak to such great men, in the sports world. It's a great opportunity, and I'm very thankful for every day that I'm able to do this.
Well, again, man, we're very appreciative to you. And if you could, when you get a chance, you text me your social media handles. We'll go ahead and repost them on Twitter and Instagram, and of course on Facebook. And see how again we raise them here in Norwalk. See, most of the young guys, they're like, nah, man, I'm not even on Facebook. Evan says, no, I have all types of people, all ages, watching me and trying to keep up with me. See, this is what I'm talking about. That's how we do it in Norwalk. But listen, Evan, man, until the next time, God bless you. Be safe, and we look forward to hearing more about your chronicles. As you hang on one second before you go, we have one more question here from a native Norwalker, Donna Jones. Let's pop it up on the screen. You can see it. Bam, there it is. Okay, so she's wishing you the same thing, the best, and have a successful career with the Ravens. You know why she said that? Because she's right down in the DC area. So she wants y'all to take. Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
All right.
Well, listen, man, Evan, I appreciate you, man. God bless, and hope to have you on again real soon.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
Simmons, make sure, Evan, you tell Johnny Shelton you had a chance to talk to me. Tell him I said hello, man. There's no finer team chaplain than Johnny Shelton.
Yes, sir. I will.
Got it.
All right. God bless.
God bless you.
All right. Be strong. Be strong, brother.
All right, guys. So we want to transition here. We've had him kind of hanging out in the wings here because we've been talking a lot of football. We're going to bring him back on now as we talk a little basketball because I want to know this burning question here, guys. First of all, I think all of us, maybe Deshaun, maybe a little young at the time, but all of us were in a situation that we remembered The Last Dance. I don't know about up close and personal, but certainly we were either millennials or just coming out of the millennial period ourselves. That was our time. Buying or selling, it's a redundant question, but it's come up again now. Michael Jordan, the GOAT, yay or nay? And can you live with the off the court Michael because of the on the court Michael? So Deshaun, I'll hit you up first since you're our basketball savant.
Whether he's the GOAT or not, is that a trick question or?
No, hang on. Wait a minute. Now we've been getting a lot of pushback from
erase those people out of your phone, Rev. Don't talk to those people no more.
It's like that.
Good evening, Brother Davis and Brother Crenshaw, my buddy. Hey, listen, I mean, listen. Sometimes it's not even just about the. Everybody looks at the greatest of all time as something being always about putting the ball in the basket. I don't know a better competitor than Michael Jordan, and the effect that he had on the lives that he did. The way that he went out. I mean, the dude came into the game and went for the head first and said, I'm a rookie. I know I don't have very much of a voice in the locker room, but I'm going for the top dog on the team, and that's A. That's first. He got that out of the way. He started out as the best player in the league throughout the duration of his career until he retired. The first time he was the best player in the league. So he came in and walked out a winner as the best, came back in as a winner, as the best, and left out again as the best. When there's somebody that can do what he did the way that he did it, I don't even understand really why it could even be a I don't even understand how there could be, anybody to really argue much of that. I mean, just you think about the GOAT, you think Michael Jordan. That's the reality of what it is, in my opinion.
All right, well, Sam, I'm going to go to you because I know that at that time, I'm pretty sure that you were right in the middle of it, covering on network TV. You were seeing him up close and personal. So what are your thoughts about Michael being the GOAT? And like I say, hey, listen, we all human beings. So, Mike was a little snarky when it was off the field. Did that diminish the fact that he was the GOAT in your mind at all? Just let's get some feedback from you. I think might be having a little technical difficulties there with Sam. All right, well, Dexter, we'll go to you.
I think I might have spoke for him, Rev. I don't think he had nothing else going.
Wow, is that it? Okay. Okay, yeah, all right. Well, all right, Dexter, your thoughts, Double D?
Well, I'm going to tell you, it was my wife and I, we were a part of the the Red Cloud Foundation, which was basically in the 90s a foundation that supported the Indians out of the Dakotas. And we had the privilege to take them to Chicago and had the privilege to always go to the Bulls practices and be hosted by Phil Jackson, who, of course, had a strong affinity for the Indian culture. We'd take the kids to the Red Cloud Foundation banquet. He and Steve Kerr and other players would come. And I never thought I told my wife, we got all these pictures from those times. And I never knew that, hey, man, it was going to be so valuable now, based on the last dance. And so I remember going to a practice when I first won, and everybody was on the one court, right? They had 2 goals. So all the players was on one side, and then Michael Jordan was shooting on the other with Brown. What's his first name? But no, the point guard. His name
Randy
Brown. D. Brown? No.
Randy Brown.
Randy Brown. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
What's impressive about that is that Michael Jordan had the whole goal by himself, and Randy Brown was just fetching shots, and all of the other players, including Rodman, was on the goal on the other side. I just thought that was always amazing, but that let me know that to your point, brother, take the GOAT, because when you in amongst other pros and the other pros treat you,
Right, well, no doubt, man. So let me go ahead and pop in here. Sam says he's going to come back on once he kind of gets some technical difficulties squared away. So let's go here. Again, we got the comments are popping here on social media. So let's go first to Jay Shy. His first comment, he had mentioned MJ is the GOAT. And he said in boxing, Holyfield is the GOAT, because we're going to talk a little bit later about the idea of of Mike Tyson coming back in. And Jay Shy also wants to throw in here, football, though, has several GOATs, and they're GOATs by position that they play. So it's very, very interesting. Also, we want to pop up here a good friend of the broadcast. And like I tell people, had it not been for this guy, you guys wouldn't be seeing me now, because we started together on a very first episode of Real Talk Sports. It used to be myself and this gentleman right here, Mr. Vincent W. Turner. And he said, if he's saying God bless a good show, then you know it's straight. Yeah, shows we're doing all right so far, gentlemen. So, Mr. Turner, we appreciate you, man. Again, if you want to hang out with us, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can post it here again on social media. If anybody wants to enter the locked-in living room, this would be it right here. I've just posted it up on the page. I'm going to pop it up here on the screen so you guys can see it. There it is if you want to join us. For those of you on Periscope, there it is. And also for those of you who are on Facebook Live, on YouTube, I should say, there it is. And those of you who are on Facebook Live, we'll get back to that in just a second. But yeah, just hit us up and we'll be ready to rock and roll. Speaking of Periscope, one of our favorites, Cammy 000 is in the building. Give us a big shout out from South Carolina.
All right.
So now Cammy, you see in the upper right hand corner, you have a Clemson man right there. So give Dexter Davis a big shout out. One of the all-time greats, future Hall of Famer at Clemson, was on there. What is the all defensive team that they honored you with, brother?
Clemson all-time team. Sir.
Clemson all-time team on defense. Dexter Davis, a bad man. And matter of fact, if you guys look at my poster on Facebook, you will see I got a split screen of Dexter today and when he was rocking number 9. I got a action shot, actually a Topps football card. Yeah, so you think the minister couldn't get that up? Yeah, I found it right there. There it is. All right, so let's go here and give a shout out here. There's Cammy. She is saying, "Go Tigers."
That's right. Go Tigers. See you again in February. So if anybody else got any questions, we'll see you again in February.
Oh, here we go. All right, Jay Shai got to throw one more. And he said he's just a tidbit here. Some of the GOATs in football. He's saying Tom Brady all-time best in as a quarterback position, running back. You know, this has really been it's interesting now over the last couple of years. I'll say about the last 5 to 10 years, the sentiment is starting to shift away from Jim Brown being the ultimate football player, period, greatest of all time, to now shifting to more and more people as NFL Films continues to replay the highlights of Barry Sanders. Many people are now saying that Barry Sanders might have been the very best at the running back position. Wide receiver, of course, Jerry Rice, that goes without saying. Tight end, Mr. Gonzalez. You'd have some people from the 60s talk about John Mackey, a great legend, was a stalwart for the NFLPA for many years. A lot of people say Sterling Sharp had a great run. And of course, at the cornerback, the guy who I think next year might get his number retired in Atlanta, because I think with only fitting in 2021, that number 21 would be set down Deion Sanders. Flipping now here to Periscope or Twitter TV. There it is right there. She's getting all her pom-poms out, ready to rock and roll, thinking that somehow Clemson might trip or find their way back in the college football playoffs.
You know, it's a familiar pathway. That's all. Way to go, Cammy.
Okay, guys, listen, as we go now around the bend, your sentiments here. I saw a clip yesterday on YouTube. I watched a little bit of the Joe Rogan show. I had to edit some of it because Joe kind of, he kind of used the language a little bit rough, like I used to use back about 30, 40 years ago. Anyway, he showed a clip of a 55-year-old Mike Tyson sparring. And I said to myself, OMG. Man, I'm telling you, this guy was throwing punches like it was 1999. Doggone. I mean, guys, what do you think about Mike Tyson getting back in the ring?
I'm going to be the guy that'll say that you would have a better chance, Rev, in Double D.
Here we go.
You would have a better chance of me washing the windows on the top of the Empire State Building before I'm stepping in the ring to even come close to taking a punch with Iron Mike Tyson.
You already know.
Let me explain something. Over here, Rev, you know me personally. You see me. You seen the physique. 150 pounds soaking wet with rocks in my pocket. There is no way that I'm even drawing a picture of getting hit by Iron Mike Tyson, let alone actually getting in the squared circle with this dude. When I watched what he has still been able to do in a very short 10 to 15 second clip, I mean, he had the guy, not the sparring partner, the trainer, the guy that's wearing the actual punching suit, that guy gave up, and he's significantly bigger than I am. and he's wearing a punching suit. I'm not even going to be the guy wearing the punching suit. I don't even want to be looked at by Mike Tyson with a furious game face. It's I don't even know why you even asked me.
Well, let's go here again to social media. Here we got some comments still popping through here. Let's go here to Vincent Turner, Mr. Football. Let's see, his question is for the panel. He says he's putting out the God bless to everybody. He wants to make sure to cover all the college football folks because he knows that we're on the LSU page. He knows we're on the Ultimate Dog Nation page. He knows that we're on the SEC conference page. So he said, I'm giving a shout out to everybody. I'm covering all the bases. So we appreciate you, Mr. Turner. Also, a guy that was very instrumental on putting the Real Talk Sports Show on the map, Bruce Porter. He used to be our engineer and our board operator and producer back at WIGO. So we thank God for Bruce as well. So we appreciate all of you guys here. And Cammie wants to give another shout out to Mr. Deshaun. She is rolling as she heard your story about you don't want to get not even a whisper's breath near Mr. Mike Tyson. So, but here's what I'm telling you, man. I just think the guy, you know, again, you never know until you get in the ring of what really is going to actually happen. So
I know, Rev.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You're not gonna sit there and take no. Anytime a man can bite another man's ear, and is cool with it, and he think there's no way I'm gonna get in the ring with Mike Tyson.
Rev, when I hear a man say that I'll eat your children, that's enough for me. There ain't no, we can spin it, shape it, mold it, slice and dice it as many different ways as you want, Rev. There is,
yeah,
that's it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is how my sentiment is about it. I'm sitting here at 6 feet, 216 pounds. I would be classified as a heavyweight in some circles. However, when it comes to Mike Tyson, I would immediately take myself down several notches and now be considered a lightweight. And I would now, for a large sum of money, I have to admit that the minister might take a dive. You know, Mike would kind of, you know, get the fist up, and immediately I get the bam.
Hey,
Minister's out for the count. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yep. That would be me. I'd be out of there, boys. I wouldn't be messing around at all, trying to get with this guy. I'm through. So you already know. So Cammie is already having the sensibility that yes, I am crazy. You're right. No way I'll be getting back in the ring. I don't think any of us here would get in the ring with Mike Tyson at all. But I do think. But let me ask this question. Now, normally I'm not a big pay-per-view guy. Let's put a price tag on this thing. How much would you pay on a pay-per-view to see Mike Tyson fight anybody that would say a top 10 contender in the heavyweight situation right now?
I paid $100. I paid $100 to see it. You know, I would pay $100 to see it just because Tyson. I think the name still can make it.
All right, I think you get from me $50. That's about as high as the rev gonna go because I'm a notorious cheapskate. But I would probably go to about $50 here. And matter of fact, let's bring in one other person here. Sam Crenshaw, I believe his technical difficulty has been resolved.
I'm back, man.
Sam is back.
Come on.
You asked me a question. And all of a sudden, my laptop decided to update something, and poof.
It wasn't,
like, no.
Brother Crenshaw. It wasn't even really much of a question.
Well, it wasn't. Yeah, it's true. Well, he was asking me about Jordan and the time, and I was going to say during that time, I was living and working in North Carolina, so everything he did was a big deal. Everything he did was huge, and the thing I got to see while he has this carefully crafted persona, which Dexter, I don't know if you know of another professional athlete that had that and was able to live up to it for the most part. I mean, everything was carefully laid out for him by Falk and the Nike people and the PR folks. I don't know where they were when he got in front of a camera and told folks he liked to gamble. I was like, where are the PR folks? Where are the PR people? You know, the handlers. But there were none around. But when I was in North Carolina, it was cool to see him come back there. A friend of his who now works for him with the basketball team in Charlotte was a lawyer and would have a basketball camp every summer. Jordan would come back and bring about 24 NFL players back, and on the last day of the camp, they would play a pickup game just for the kids in the camp and the media and the family. And it was cool because they would have a cookout, and he would almost like take his shoes off, put them in the corner because everybody knew him. It was like, hey, Mike, what's up, Mike? It wasn't like, oh, Michael Jordan. So it was neat to see him in that kind of environment around people who knew him before all that, and he knew he could come back there and be Mike. And that was kind of neat to get to see.
Well, man, like you said, I knew you had a bird's eye view. I did not know you were in North Carolina at the time, so you had a real close up close view. Yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, for me, I think growing up, in between the two metropolises of Boston and New York. So I will tell you, at that time, Mike was not a favorite of mine. I liked the fact that he was a spectacular player, and certainly I would watch him play almost any other team. But the Celtics or the Knicks, especially the Knicks, because in my situation, a good friend of the family, his sister, she used to babysit John Starks. Now, for those people who didn't get a chance to, because they really wasn't profiled much in the documentary, but John Starks was the guy that was basically assigned to guard Michael Jordan. And John was a little bit volatile, both as a player in terms of the skill sets. He could scorch you and go 5 for 6 out of 3 on the three-pointer, or he can do what he did in the championship series against the Houston Rockets and go 3 of 22 from the floor. So that's who John was. So, but we were always rooting for him. We were always rooting for John. To this day, he has one of the top 25 memories ever in Madison Square Garden. One of the few times that we got some get back against Chicago, where John Starks decided that he was going to take on all of the Bulls at their finest. So John, with a running start, had a left-handed dunk over MJ and Scottie Pippen. And I thought that the building was going to fall down in Madison Square Garden. It was one of the great highlights of Knick basketball. But, Sadi, for us, there were no championships to be had.
Wow. There actually were highlights of Knicks basketball. My goodness. Who knew?
Sam, now, I could arrange some technical difficulty for you again. Okay? It's very easy for me to press a couple of buttons and then, Sam got trouble. He off the air, y'all. But, yeah, it was, I mean, it must have been. It was
a different NBA. It was a different NBA then, though, wasn't it?
Right.
It was just a different NBA, much more physical. I don't know how today's players, while being better athletes, I don't know how well they would have performed, especially in the East, where you had to be a physically strong team to survive against any of them. The Knicks, Boston, Detroit, as you know, Jordan, he had to hit the weight room to be able to push back, but that's just the way the game was played then. And you wonder how folks like LeBron James would do. Somebody, if you breathe on him, the whistle blows and he goes through the free throw stripe. And not taking anything away from him, he's the greatest of this time. How would those guys do during that time is just, to me, that's the bigger debate more than just one player.
Absolutely, Sam. And listen, I debate during those times, every team had at least three premier players. So this whole big three thing, if you scale it back to the 90s and the early 90s, every team had at least 3 superior players.
Oh, no, I mean, the original big three were the Celtics. That was the original big three. And talk about a GM maneuvering. Red Auerbach somehow or another got 3 guys where 2 of them were top 50 players in the NBA, very similar to the Bulls. You had Robert Parrish, you had Kevin McHale, and Larry Bird. And it was all about, just like Jerry Krause, about maneuvering your draft picks, about getting somebody to go for a sucker move. And I think if I can remember correctly, the Celtics either gave up the rights to or traded Joe Barry Carroll in order to get access to Kevin McHale. Y'all know who Joe Barry Carroll is, right?
I think he actually. I think he lives here. I do believe.
I mean, be careful because he might snap.
Yeah.
I mean, be careful.
He is.
I'm sorry, Joe Barry, but that's the story. I'm sorry.
He is an Atlanta resident these days.
See, Sam, that's why I had you on because now all of a sudden he could see me in the street. Yo, man, you kind of chucked me off on you. I'm just saying. So Double D, what was your thoughts? Because again, I mean, that was prime time for you to do, brother. What were your thoughts about MJ and what was going on?
Listen, that wasn't the day when, as a male, and again, I know what we're saying is what we're saying, but I used to be able to call a friend and say, hey, and watch the whole game on the phone, watching MJ play. You know what I'm saying, guys? You remember?
Oh yeah.
You pick up the phone and literally talk whole 4 quarters and watch MJ play. No player today makes me do that, but Jordan could hold your attention because you knew you were going to get 30. You knew you were getting maximum effort. You know he was going to put on the show regardless of who the team was. So I miss that.
I miss that too. Now, throw that out at Deshaun because Deshaun is contemporary of today's player.
Yep.
The thing, Dexter, those players didn't have off nights.
No.
You had guys on those teams that did not have off nights. I don't know if this is the result of a lot of one and dones and none and dones coming into the league over the last 15 years or so. That now because they're able to have off night. Oh, he just had an off night, and you got to understand it. But I'm paying the same for my ticket, and he's getting paid more money, but he can have an off night. But we had one here in Atlanta, Dominique Wilkins, and that's why he's still adored by the fans here because he didn't take a night off. There were no off nights for him. Guys of that contemporary. And these players now, even the greatest and highest paid, off night. So he just had an off night. To me, that's just a difference in the league and the way guys play. I won't take a big swipe at the current players and say you don't have that kind of pride. But those guys in that time know if I'm the guy, then it matters to me. And you remember even Jordan begrudgingly giving the ball up and passing it more when it had to on the team because he felt like he was the guy that had to drive the ship. And when he able to let go a little bit, the whole team rose up.
Ja Morant, Crenshaw. That's the next one. Ja Morant.
Okay. Up in Memphis.
He's got the He's got the extra. Don't care who you are. Gonna bring it to you. He's closest thing to the Jordan mentality.
You gotta watch for him.
Deshaun got it. This quick up his face. Deshaun, talk to me, brother.
Come on, Deshaun.
Never in my life did I think that you guys have to beg me to talk about basketball. I hear you on what you're saying about Ja Morant, and by all means, I don't question. And I love today's athletes and today's basketball players. While I do think that some of them lack the competitive nature, especially in comparison to the old game. I mean, you look at the old game, the way it was in the 80s and the 90s, and even before then. You saw a basketball player, and you knew he was a basketball player. These guys nowadays are really thin. Guys are slim. It's all about athleticism and this and that. But, I'm seeing guys, I'm 150 pounds. I'm walking past guys that are in the NBA, and we're about the same size. When you saw a Charles Oakley, when you saw an NBA player, you knew he was an NBA player. I say all that to say that, you've got some really extreme talent. You've got who I think it has extreme potential to be the next Larry Bird and Luka Doncic. I think that what you have in a guy like a Trae Young is obviously really good as well. A Zion Williamson, who hasn't even gotten his feet wet with 20-plus games yet, is out there looking like a monster. And that's not even to mention the other guys that, are got more than, 3 years, in the league so far. So you've got some really talented basketball players. You guys were talking about guys having nights off. That's just not, according to what I think I was hearing, you were talking about guys that had, that took nights off in terms of just maybe not performing well. Well, nowadays you also have guys literally taking nights off and taking advantage of the opportunity to sit out of games called load management, which you didn't have at that. You didn't have that at that time. So the competitive nature is totally different. While I do agree to an extent about Ja Morant and his mentality and his aggressiveness in terms of his competitive nature, I think the closest player in terms of competitive nature to Michael Jordan in today's game is Russell Westbrook. That's a guy that I do not question or doubt brings it each and every single night that he has the opportunity to do so. He's willing to do everything on the floor asked of him. And not only can he fill it up, dish the ball, and rebound the ball at an elite and high level, but he also doesn't mind getting out there and defending. He's not a guy like majority of the guys now where you have to call a timeout, yank him up by the uniform, cuss him out, tell him to go play defense, and send him back out there and figure out for himself what he's going to do. I don't see him as being that type of player. I will say this much, though. Rev, appreciate you, man, for having me on. Dexter Davis, has been a pleasure to meet you for the first time. And Brother Crenshaw, my dude, Brother Crenshaw, man. I love you, brother. And I appreciate all you guys for having me on, and looking forward to the next time. I've got another engagement now that it's 9 o'clock, but and it's hard for me to pull away from you guys because we're talking some basketball, dude. So trust me, you know me best know that this is very difficult for me to log off at the moment. But I appreciate you guys for having me at Tate's Take Hoops on the Twitter as well as on the Instagram. TATESTAKEHOOPS where basketball lives.
Proud of
Here's
you,
what they
man.
say:
Proud
show
of you, man.
business.
Keep doing what you do. Proud of you, man.
Proud of
That's
you.
right.
Hey.
Remember they say in show business: always want them wanting more. So you're leaving with everybody wanting more. All right, brother, be blessed.
You as well.
Well, yeah, man. So at the end of the day, it's I'll just be very candid, man. Like I said before, it was must see TV to some degree. I told people for me it was kind of there was some difficulty for me because for me personally as an individual, that was kind of my glory years. I mean, that's when I was extremely high achiever with Ford. Back at the dealership I was at, we were fast tracking potentially for me to have a partnership, my own dealership. My first house was bought during that same time period. My mom, I think that every man likes the sensibility that if he can't buy his mom a home, that he'll be able to move him in with her. And so I was able to do that for the very first time. So for me, it kind of brought back those memories of that was kind of in my heyday as well, as far as certain achievements. But at the end of the day, man, it was just really very interesting to kind of watch kind of all that went together and just let you know that, things are possible. And see what most people I think don't understand, and Deshaun touched on it very, very briefly, is that all we saw basically is the last dance. We saw the 6 championships in 8 years, but Mike had played, 7 or 8 years before that. Okay, I mean, he had to go through the Pistons, constantly being knocked out by them. He had a lot of struggles in those early years. So people are just thinking that this guy was in his second or third year, he pops up and that's it. It really wasn't two. If we are really, and unfortunately, the last 2 episodes kind of, to some degree, didn't really bring out all of us. Scottie Pippen was, but the realities were before Scottie Pippen came to the Bulls, there were no championships to be had. It took the addition of another top 50 player, and like you talked about earlier, Sam, and you, Dexter, as well, to really kind of create that real nucleus of a big three with him, Scottie, and Horace Grant, and later with him, Scottie, and Dennis Rodman. It just lets you know, man, how great you are. You still need some other moving pieces to win championships at that level.
You do. It takes that to have that, and even with the guy with Rodman, different type personality. Still,
Right.
even he knew what the bottom line was, that if he showed up and performed. Now, Dexter, you tell me. I don't know if you had some teammates that would check out and go to Vegas and gamble, check out and go and wrestle with Hulk Hogan. I mean, you played out in Oakland, so I know you have some. You always had some unusual folk out there. But I mean, anybody like that?
Well, I'll tell you, Dexter Manley. I remember when I first we got Dexter. Dexter was in the end of his career, and God bless him because Dexter was checked into the hospital a couple nights ago for the coronavirus. So we're praying for Dexter.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. Yeah, very much. Yeah. Very much.
And we're with the Cardinals. We just got Dexter. Just a quick Dexter story. We just gotten him from the Redskins, and he was in his heyday. Joe Beagle at the time came from the Redskins, and he came to practice, man, with a blue velvet blazer, a red tied around his neck, and flip flops on. And he told me, he said, "Hey, young brother," he said, "this team will only have one Dexter on it this year, and it's gonna be me." And that was how he introduced himself to me.
Wow.
He said, "Playing himself as I am the franchise." That was the first time I had been around a character like that. But you're right. But a player like that, when you have those kind of guys, as long as you're performing, and again, to your point, Sam, those coaches in that era knew how to manage those kinds of players. And you couldn't manage them like that today because of social media, because of the way they are. But then a good player's coach, quote unquote, will let that player have a little loose as long as he's performing.
Yeah, and that was Phil Jackson was the perfect guy for that because he's a little bit of a free spirit as a player in his day. And so, I mean, so yeah, in his days with the Knicks. And so it really was the perfect formula, perfect mix of players and coach for the success that we saw with that. It really was.
Yes, no doubt. I mean, it just shows you you have to have really players of coach, of GM, because all those things have to kind of mesh together. And I just want to say this. I mean, to Falcons fans, because we're on a lot of different Falcons pages that watch this, Atlanta Bird Gang, Falcons 2.0, Falcons Nation. We appreciate all you guys for letting us, stream on your group page. We appreciate everybody again on Periscope who's watching the replay. Because I know a lot of you guys click on and watch the replay, so we appreciate you. At the end of the day, I think that sometimes the job that the Falcons brass has done, especially Thomas Dimitroff. Don't get me wrong, Dimitroff has had his foul-ups. Okay, I'm not trying to paint this picture that he's been the ultimate GM, but at the end of the day, if you really look at the record overall that the Falcons have had, if you look at the guys who we know at least one's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. The other guy, I think if he ever wins a Super Bowl, he'll go in the Hall of Fame. Of course, I'm talking about Julio Jones and Matt Ryan. If you look at the body of work that Dimitroff has done, yeah, he's had some clunkers, but the Falcons have consistently been a team that's been in postseason play. They've had 2 appearances in the NFC title game. They've had an appearance in the Super Bowl. And really, if we look at this guy, if his coaches had managed their games properly by a couple of minutes, we'd be looking at this team and Dimitroff in a whole different light. Entire different light.
I defer to Sam because obviously my role, I certainly.
I know you can't rise. Chap, I got you. Mm-hmm.
I will say this. Well, I will say that I think if you're going to measure him, you got to measure him on the guys like Grady Jarrett, DeMonte KZ, and Ricardo Allen. He has been on players who are not top draft picks, and these players have become valuable assets in the National Football League on a steady basis. So I think he gets his unfair due, and you start tallying up the big ones. But if you look at pound for pound, player for player, nobody's done it as good as he has over the last 6-7 years.
Yeah. The way I like to describe it is being in the conversation. For so many years, the Falcons weren't in the conversation. The Falcons have consistently been in the conversation. And I think that's the thing, that there's a level of expectation here, but there's also a level of expectation around the league and around the country because they know what's been assembled here. And that's because of the work that Thomas Dimitroff has done in assembling this team, a team that gives this city a chance to compete and challenge each and every year. So I think that's, to me, that's when I think of him in his body of work. I think about that. We are consistently in the conversation. And that's something we haven't had with all of our teams here in Atlanta for some time. So the Falcons have been that.
That's real talk.
Maybe that's the part that's frustrating, is that we're in the conversation and we don't, finish the deal. But think of how many teams and how many cities are never in the conversation, and we're consistently there.
That's right. And so the other guy I want to give a shout out to is he just had a birthday a couple of days ago. Number 2, Matt Ryan, a guy who I think has taken a lot of ire from Falcons fans because he had the misfortune of replacing a guy who was probably one of the electric players in NFL history, Michael Vick. But again, if you look at the body of work of Matt Ryan, you got a guy that comes in, and guys, I know you haven't seen that before, but just want to let everybody know that you're in the lockdown living room. Amen. But yeah, if you look at Matt Ryan's body of work, you got a guy coming into a situation where a fan favorite has been suddenly and shockingly removed from the table. He comes in, and his first pass was a touchdown pass. His first season, the Falcons get to the playoffs, and they really haven't looked back since. And like I said again, some of those early playoff games, some of that was his responsibility. But at the end of the day, I can list not every single, but a huge share of Hall of Fame quarterbacks who had absolute clunkers in playoff games. Absolute clunkers. I mean, everybody likes to talk about, obviously, Peyton Manning, but Peyton Manning he didn't have that many really standout games in postseason. Now, a lot of that was because they had to go up against the Patriots, but it's not like he, set the world on fire. So, again, we want to give Matty Ice kudos. We want to say happy birthday to you, bro. And I think that if bottom line is, if this Falcon team with him on it can win a Super Bowl, he is going to the Hall of Fame.
I think so. I think he's there anyway. Phillip Rivers isn't going to the Hall of Fame, and he hadn't come close to doing the things that Matt has done. But he's got the yards every year. He's posting those big numbers up. Those numbers accumulate. He's going to the Hall of Fame, and he hadn't come close. I mean, we'll see what he does with the new team this year and what he's able to do at this stage of his career. But I think Matt gets there. I think he does. We'd love to see him get there and finish and get us to a championship. Falcons could start an 11-man all first-round draft picks on offense this year. You know, how about the potential of that is, you know, just let that rattle around in your head a little bit, what that could possibly potentially look like each and every Sunday. The thing is, they went out during the draft. They feel some needs on the defensive side of the ball. I'm excited to see, you know, what happens, especially with our second-round pick. My goodness, and they get somebody up front that's going to run up there with Grady. And they also brought in some pass rush, which you're going to need, because I think we're going to hurt Tom Brady. I can't wait to get away. I think, Dex, I don't know what you think about Brady going to Tampa Bay. You know, and they're giving him all these primetime games. I am hoping there's so much egg on the face of the network guys who are giving them all these primetime games. I think they're going to be improved. I don't think they're going to be the Super Bowl team. I think they're going to be that good. I think we're going to see Brady get hit. You know, he never got hit in New England. You never saw him get hit. You know, I think he gets hit down here, and I really think he does. And I think there's going to be a difference.
I totally agree, and I think you got to also measure the team they're going to play. I mean, for the first time, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers come to town, everybody's going to get up for them. So they're not coming in, you know, Super Bowl beaters. So they got to earn that. And I think, listen, man, I think we got to really appreciate the style of Brady and the style of Matty Ice. And I'll pat Matty Ice on the button, tell him nobody better, because in my opinion, there's nobody better because he's with the Falcons. So I'm a Falcons guy. So at the same time, this is probably the last two traditional style quarterbacks that can still get it done and run there that we're going to see from the NFL, because, you know, it's changing. And these are the last two. We got to appreciate their style of play.
We do.
Yeah, no doubt. Yep. And actually, we are privileged in the NFC South because Teddy Bridgewater also is not a guy that runs around a lot. He's more of a pocket guy. So we're going to see, like you said, the last of the quote unquote traditional style quarterbacks. And we get the privilege to see him here in the NFC South. Going back again to our happy folks here on social media. Our good buddy again, Cammy 000 watching on Periscope. Big happy birthday to number 2, Matt Ryan. So Matty Ice, again, if somehow you perused our Twitter page, you can see many happy birthdays coming to you from South Carolina from Miss Cammy. Well, guys, listen, man, it's been phenomenal. You guys joining us here on the broadcast. Again, I know both of you guys have extremely busy schedules. The one thing that's nice about being in the lockdown living room, I get to have 15 minutes of bonus time, which we've been able to use. So we go to the 9:15 p.m., not 9 o'clock, as if I was in the studio. So it's a beautiful thing.
Nice. I'm proud that you had a chance to invite me to be on, and I'm sorry for the glitch for the update that just happened on its own, but I'm glad I was able to get back in just in time for this extended time.
No, Sam,
no doubt.
You jumped on me right when I got on. You gave me a hard time, and all of a sudden, he just get him. Boom.
See, that's what happened when you mess with the man of God. Suddenly, fire rained down. Bam, Sam started flickering. All of a sudden, Sam was like, oh, he gone. That's it. I said, well, you can't mess with the preacher. That's what you get. There you go.
That's what you get. That's what you get.
That's it. Well, Sam, listen, a lot of great stuff you do with 92.9 The Game, also with Georgia Public Broadcasting. Also, if I'm not mistaken, you do some stuff for the local access channel in Atlanta as well. Is that correct?
City Channel, ATL 26, been able to do a lot of things, and recently doing a lot of stories about battling COVID-19, the things that are happening within the cities. We know Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms has been after everybody. She turned into Auntie Keisha. She went and took the rims down out in the park. I told y'all not play no basketball. You know, that's Auntie Keisha. But she's doing a heck of a job to keep people safe and through this time. She's doing a remarkable job. So it's great to be a part of that. Also, Georgia State. And then Dexter, how about the news of Dan Ellington, the Georgia State quarterback, named to the coaching staff? Young man, obviously with the contribution he made, I thought that was great to see. I don't know if you saw that this week.
No, I did not. I had a chance to. I'm just praying for the actual Georgia State, because I had some opportunity to talk to Charlie Cobb and the challenge that we have as a mid-major program here and the funding. So I've been praying for our program just that it can hang on.
Yeah. That's what they've invested a lot in the program. Obviously, acquiring the property there that had been the old Turner Field, and plans also for a new convocation center for basketball. So there's a lot that's there. So it's an exciting time to be a part of it, and we hope they come through this on the other side and still be strong and able to move forward.
But also, speaking of that, I want to give a big shout out to the HBCU heroes. We're going to hopefully have them on in the next week or two. Great stuff going on there, Clark, Atlanta, and around the country, but especially here in Atlanta with Clark and Morehouse both being here, Georgia Tech, Georgia State, just really the conundrum of sports in an inner city environment. So, guys, and you guys really have been on the ground floor. Sam, obviously, all the stuff you've done with Georgia Public Broadcasting and with, the various news channels, and of course 92.9. Dexter, from the ministry side, you and your wife tag teaming with Urban FCA and all the things that you guys do down there. Tremendous staff of men and women. I noticed that you have another young lady that's just joined the staff. Look like she really has a lot of energy and anointing. So just you guys can look at this and be thankful to God that you guys have been actually part of the solution and part of the sports that we see and sometimes take for granted here in downtown Atlanta. So certainly my hat's off to both of you guys.
Thank you.
So Sam, now how can people follow you on social media?
Thanks so much for joining us. Always great to see you. And
well, y'all just said because you're in the lockdown living room.
For me, All right. Of course, I'm on Facebook, Samuel Crenshaw. Of course, you find me on Twitter at Sam Crenshaw 23 anytime.
All right, Dexter, how about you? How can people find out more about you and also the FCA? Because don't you guys have something coming up pretty big with the FCA? I think you guys have some things going on with them as well.
Well, summertime has always been a big year for us, and the delay in the schedule with COVID-19 has changed that. So we got some unique things that we're doing. We've got a couple marriage retreat for coaches and their spouses. So we are having a virtual coaches retreat. So we're going to have that going. I'll certainly send that to you so you can promote that. We have and their spouses to come and be a part of a virtual marriage retreat weekend, and just getting a chance to serve our coaches and to their athletes. So that's what we'll continue to do. We'll be creative with COVID-19, but we'll still keep the main thing, and serving coaches and athletes to and through the coach, sharing the adventure of Jesus Christ. That's the name of the game.
Well, it can't get any better than that, and certainly we'll do whatever we can to help. I'm going to have to go into the archives because, as you know, I did get a chance to go up to the University of West Georgia, which, interestingly enough, is the alma mater of Mr. Sam Crenshaw. We went up there and got a chance to interview actually a couple of athletes. We've never really had a chance to get it edited out, so we'll try to get that up on some Flashback Fridays and some Throwback Thursdays so the young men can kind of see kind of the sensibility. We got some stuff as the guys were playing and so forth. So we'll get those up for you as well. Well, guys, I never end any broadcast. We want to do this real quick. Our final comments from social media. Ms. Cammie, good night to you. Appreciate all those of you who have been watching us here on Facebook Live. And, of course, all those of you who are tuning in on the replay on Periscope. We thank God for you. Well, guys, I don't like to close any broadcast as the preacher without asking a simple question. Do you know Jesus Christ is your personal Savior? You say, I don't know. Well, here's why you should. Number one, absolutely nobody loves you like Jesus. Not your mom, not your grandmama, not even auntie and them. Nobody loves you like him. Why? Because he made you, he loves you, and he died for you. Now, to have a relationship with him is real simple. Just repent of all the craziness, even not so craziness. Believe that he did this for you, and then go tell somebody. And bam, you're born again. You know what that means? You won't go to the bad place when you get out of here. You go to the good place. All right, guys, listen, you can check me out tomorrow if you want to get some ministry. I'm on I'm on 9:30 a.m. Also on Facebook and Periscope. You just go to my page, Jonathan Simmons, or on Periscope at Minister J Sim. We do broadcast there as well. And again, we appreciate all those of you who are watching us on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and on Periscope. Gentlemen, we appreciate you for joining us here in the lockdown living room. Until next time, everybody, God bless you and have a great night. So long.
Crenshaw.